sit over here. Okay guys, it's Brooke from the Vintage Gardener. So, oops. So the guys are gone. They got all the pipes in. To be quite honest, it was not an all day. It was not an all day thing. As a matter of fact, I think it took them maybe 5 or 6 hours. Not even 6 hours actually. More like 5. So they did run into one snag, and I was kind of impressed because, you know, when you have a 200-year-old house, I'm always anticipating that something major is going to go wrong. And what happened was they turned the water on, and as I guess they were packing the stuff up, the one guy was like, "Yeah, where's all that water coming from?" I was at the back of the house on the driveway. So they went over there and saw all this water coming out of certain sections. So they turned it off and they realized, okay, somehow there's water, there's a system goes this way. So they actually started digging around in front of where it comes from outside the house. And they noticed that I guess there was a pipe, and apparently it was a T connection that went back. And so they were like, listen, this goes under your driveway. And they said, well, we're gonna, you know, if there's a break here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a faucet, another faucet, because it's actually more expensive to cap it off than put a faucet. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. They said, if it's already over here, you know, if you want to expand around here, like, you know, it's not a big deal. I'm like, okay, whatever, fine. Just go for it. And so they started digging and realized that actually they think that the pipe actually stopped underneath the parking lot, and so it was just a mess. So they actually ended up cutting the pipe, and so now in the moon garden right outside of my study, now there's a spigot there, which is fine because, to be quite honest, by having the spigot here, I can actually take it from where it is all the way around to the back where that flower bed is. And quite frankly, if I run like a black tube like right underneath my door so I don't trip or anything, I can water that section as well. And I probably could, if I put a splitter on it, I could definitely run it out to, you know, the vegetable garden, and, you know, that sort of thing. So I have options. So I have eight hose bibs. I obviously I could have gotten away, I could have done fewer and just had like four splitters, but, you know, because with the drip tubing, you can only have 300 feet, and quite frankly, with what I would be planting, some parts may not need as much water as others. I thought it might be easier to have just more zones so that I can control it. So I have 7 in the front yard directly in front of my house and 1 on the side, and the one on the side will be fine for that entire section. And then when we want to expand it, we'll expand it like in front of my house to the right and kind of all the way around the property. So the water pressure is really good, which you guys can see from the. So at the end of the day, I spent, because I know a lot of people, if you're thinking about this, you're probably wanting to know like what I spent. Okay, so I spent $671 and change. And so in case you're wondering, the company that I use, I'm going to put their name in the title, is Accurately Controlled Irrigation. And I'll put their name and I'll put their phone number. So if you're in the South Jersey area and you're looking for, I got no complaints. The guy will come back and he'll blow up my system. I told him, go ahead and put me on your thing, $75. And so I'm set. I have no issues whatsoever. I don't, in my opinion, now granted, I never priced sprinklers. That to me was not a lot of money. I do know that by getting spigots instead of like irrigation grids, it is cheaper. Now, that said, my price was based upon what I had done. Okay, I already had an existing water system to my house. Everything was already set up in the basement with the valves and everything. The pipes actually came out side. It was PVC, so it was something. It was more modern. It wasn't like the other company. Like, I don't know where they got this whole thing with copper. It's just they didn't dig down because it was clearly PVC. So that was already done. So the water had already been run out the house, around the corner, into a valve box that was in the front of the yard, and it was basically, it was capped off. And so that was already done. So basically I was just paying for them to put it around the yard, and of course they cut the one pipe off right there. So like I said, it was existing. If I had, so I think the original price they quoted me for if I had only had the 7 rather than 8, I think it would have been $578. And then they made it clear that if it turned out they couldn't use the existing system and had to run more pipes, it would be an additional $411. So I think if they had to replace everything, it would have been like $1,089 or like $1,100 in that range. So, you know, but like I said, I had an existing system. You know, if you have, if you don't have an existing system, it's going to be more money because they now have to add everything, you know, drill holes into your foundation walls to get the pipes out. I don't know how big your yard is. I mean, if you're doing, I mean, I was only doing it, but the section I was running it to was 36 by 60, you know, so, and, you know, and I'm going to expand it slowly, but if, for example, you're doing a much bigger plot, you know, obviously the materials and stuff are going to be a lot more because they've got to run a lot more pipe. The way he was able to do it was with the machine, so it kind of, they actually only dug holes really where, because I had put X's to mark the spot, they were able to dig the hole and kind of like send it through to the next spot. I don't know how they did it, but it wasn't very long. Now, if, you know, with what you can do, they can do that, you know, that's probably going to be easier. If they actually have to trench, that's going to be a different cost. So I can just tell you that with mine, they added 8 spigots onto an existing system that already had PVC pipe, and at the end of the day, they did not have to, basically just hooked it up. They didn't have to do any repairs to the system. They left it running, you know, and so they were like, listen, you know, at the end of the day, if you see unexplained puddles around your house, give me a call so I can come back, because, you know, they weren't able to tell exactly where the system went. And they think they nailed it down, but they're like, you know, we don't know. So I think probably I'm not sure why they had that system installed, because it doesn't seem like it was hooked up to anything. I don't know if they did it for a future plan, you know, for the future, especially when they put down the parking lot, if they say, well, let's do it now because it's going to be expensive to rip up and do it, and that's what happened. I don't know. All I can tell you is I'm very glad they only had to pay $671 and change instead of, you know, $1,000 or more to have a new system added, something completely new added to my system. So I'm really excited because I really get to start gardening in earnest, and like I said, I know it's kind of cheesy, but like I feel like I'm really starting my garden now. So that is it. So I will see you guys in the next video, and have a nice day.